Okay, so this is the final video for migrating courses. This is the wrap-up video, and we're going to talk just briefly about all the things that were involved in migrating this course. First thing we did was look at the syllabus that was submitted and just looked at the structure of the course. This is where we got the names of the modules and all of that. So we just looked through that closely before we begin the migration. Then we looked at Blackboard. And we look at what's in the weeks and kind of get a feel for everything. Then the next step was if there's quizzes, we migrated some quizzes over in this case. If there aren't quizzes, then you skip that step. And then in this case, we download, in this one, the next step is then to download the content that's in the course so that we can organize it. And we put the content collection and click, and then we see that and we can download all of this, and then we'll take it over to a folder. Always don't forget to show all when you do that. Download all that stuff. The next step after that was to go over and we create a folder. And we created a student folder where we then used the Blackboard to kind of organize the content into weeks. And so we did that. And so we now have all of this organized into weeks. And when it's all organized, you're going to be pulling it out of the migrated content folder or whatever folder you have that you've brought the raw stuff over. You go into each week, and I think there's nothing in week 1, so let's go to week 3. And we've renamed things according to their the title on the actual document. And so I use the preview so I like to use the preview function on this so that I can click on something that has a funky name and look and see, it'll preview it over here so I can look and see what the name of it is. And then I can rename it. So that's pretty handy to be able to do that. So that's what I've done here. I've renamed everything from the weird names. The reason why we rename things is because we want to be ADA compliant and have readable names. Now, I guess technically when you're migrating it, you could paste this name in and just link to whatever, to the right file. You don't have to rename everything. You can just make sure that the real name is on the page, and then you would select the real name and link to the course once you've uploaded it. So now we've gone through and we organized all the content, gotten it ready. The next step is to go into to zip up the file folder. And here we zipped up, actually, we did it here. We zip up the file folder, and then with the zip student folder, we go over into here and upload the student folder by just dragging it over or clicking the upload, and if it's zipped, it'll unzip it and leave the student folder in the files. And that's where we're going to get all of our content. Now remember that that it won't bring over empty folders, and we know that we're going to have PPTs in here. So I'm actually going to add back a week 1 folder and all the missing folders, so that when the instructor creates those PowerPoints, there'll be a folder for them to put them in. It just, when you upload and extract it, it won't extract an empty folder. It just leaves it gone. So we're going to add week 6. week 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There is no week 12 because that's the holiday. 13, 14, 15. I believe this course has a week 16. So we're going to add that in too. Okay, so now we've got a full gamut of folders. So then after we do that, then we go out and start building the pages. And that's what we did here. We built, well, oh, the next step is to use that syllabus again to create the weeks. Introduction was health policy. We created all the names of the weeks. And in this case, week 12 is spring break. Next year, it might be week 13, and that they'll just have to deal with next year. And then all of the weeks are in there. The template comes with the readings and material page. It comes with some assignments so you can help to build those. Sometimes it's good to build them in the modules. Sometimes it's better to come over to assignments. And like in this case, there was, what, 14 of these? So you can always, you know, create the first one and then duplicate and change the due date and the week. I mean, just the due date, and then change the title. It'll say chapter 1 copy. I'll turn that into chapter 2 out. Chapter 1 outline copy. You duplicate it, turns into chapter 1 outline copy, and you change it to, you edit it to turn it into chapter 2 outline, and so on. So the other thing, and this is not always going to happen. Mostly points go point for point, but this is worth 15, and there was just some odd things going on with points. Like this is really only 14 points. So I have to talk to the instructor about that. And then I also ran into, while I was migrating the readings and material pages, that there was all this miscellaneous assignments that weren't mentioned here in the homework and module assignments. None of that was mentioned over here. And so normally they would say, you know, paper, your policy and SDOA, and it'd be over here. But so I had to figure that out. And then this is also unusual in this particular course. There's a discussion that they add something to every week, and it ends on the last week, which is April 17th. I also had to migrate some quizzes over, and there is a syllabus quiz, which is here. All quizzes show up in the assignments. It's just not published, and she can decide whether she wants to delete that or not. There is a midterm that we migrated, and then they're asked to do a cumulative paper. So all of those should add up to all that should add up to 100%, and it does. So now that you got that done, let's see what we would do next. So you're setting up kind of the whole course organization. You can, when you're setting up the course organization, you can like just name all the modules, and a lot of times the first thing I'll do is go out and create the material readings and material pages. By far, these readings and material pages take the most time. You're having to get the content out of the Blackboard course, and sometimes it's PDFs that you've uploaded, and a lot of times it's, you know, there's a variety of stuff here. And you have to kind of come up with the right way to organize it for each course. This was done a little bit differently than I normally do. But I always have, in every week, there's a lecture. Oh. On my Instapot was weird. Okay, the first two things listed on every readings and material page for this course are these two things, the lecture and the textbook readings. And then it's whatever else they've got out there for this course. And you just bring it over as best you can in the best organized. All the content should be on this page. There are occasions when you might have an additional materials page or some other page that you could link to this page. but for the most part, all your readings and materials go on this page. And I usually do this even before I do the assignments, but that's not how I presented it here. I kind of do all one thing at one time, and then I might go out and start building all the assignments, or I might build all the assignments because that's kind of easy when I'm building the module structure, and then come back and fill out the readings and materials. So that's kind of up to you. So then you also, one of the first things you do is set up the syllabus page, and then you also come back to the syllabus page. So we did everything on the syllabus page, if you remember, except for these assignments and grading. And now that we kind of know how it's kind of mapped out, now we can come back and kind of fill this page out. So this is, oh wait, first of all, I'm going to go back before we even fill this page out. So in the modules, we've created all the modules, we've linked everything here, and we've built a checklist that lines up with this. So, and this needs outcomes, and I'll discuss this with the instructor, and then if she says, I don't really want to, can't do outline outcomes right now, then we'll delete this whole section and it'll start with weekly activities. But week 1, the syllabus is always on there to review the syllabus and to post a self-introduction. And then we just it should line up. Week 1 readings and materials is first. There it is. Discussion board, U.S. healthcare policy is number 2, and there it is. And week 1 introduction quiz is right there. So the other thing, so we've created the checklist. But now I've created all the checklists. Part of the quality check of this course is to literally go through every page of the course and just make sure. A lot of times I'll copy and paste parts of this to make sure that I really relinked it right. So I'm going to just run over this, make sure it says what it's supposed to say. Right before I started this video, I was on week 11, 12, and 13, and I had forgotten I changed the name of it, but forgot to link the right assignment to it. So you always have to kind of come back and check that. So basically, I'm going to start with at the top and just take a quick look. And this stuff I don't, online discussions doesn't belong in health, this one, so I need to delete that. I need to take that out of the template. I'm going to delete that, just that one. So see, I almost didn't even look at that page, but good thing I did. So this all looks right. I'm going to save it. And then the faculty page, we don't do anything with the faculty page, but we'll go to it anyway. That is filled out by the LMS administrator. And then the next one is question and answer forum. This is set up very generically in every course. We'll click next, and that should start week 1. We should see this page. So now I'm just gonna run this should just go over and say syllabus. I'm gonna open that in a new tab since it's not doing it. Should bring up the syllabus page. There it is. So I can close that. And then I'm going to run over each of these. If this is linked out to something, it should show up. There we go. There we go. And click next. Just kind of look over the next page and make sure nothing funky looks different there. This is a self-introduction. We can click next. Chapter 1, all we have here is a chapter 1 lecture. We talked about that earlier, so we'll click next. And they'll link the chapter 1 lecture to that. And there's the discussion. So we can kind of, I'm gonna click next. That's week 1 introduction quiz. We went through that earlier in the process, and now we've gone through week 1. We want to run over this, week 2, chapter 1 outline. This should be fine because it's the same in every week, and that's good. And then we click next. Next. Chapter 1 outline template, that should be fine, and that should be okay on everyone, so we don't have to really look at, if we've copied something and it looks right, you can kind of skip past it. So now that we've kind of done the whole up to next one's week 2, and I know there's certain repeatable things in here. So this is the week 2 quiz. Now I'm going to close out this stuff right here. Go back to modules. So I definitely don't, so kind of for QCing and doing, I don't have to look at this one every time, nor do I really have to look at the outline every time. What I really should take a quick peek at in every module is, and I'm going to open in a new tab, the readings and materials, and I don't have to really look at this one. So I'm going to check those real quick, and so I'm going to just roll over this to make sure I changed, that I didn't just change the name. This one I'll have to do, that one I don't have to do. Well, actually, should do this one because sometimes I copy and paste. And then the readings and materials, just look those over, make sure nothing funky is out there. Most of this stuff we uploaded, so week 3, week 3. Now week 4, I'm going to look at the checklist. I'm going to look at the readings and materials. I don't have to look at that one. I don't have to look at that one, and I don't have to look at that one, but I should look at this one because I haven't even looked at it again since I put it in. So, week 4 readings, chapter 3 outline, because sometimes I pasted chapter 2 in here and I had to relink it, and sometimes I just changed this to a 2 and forget to relink, which I found later in the course. Don't have to look at that. Don't really have to look at that. And I've got that open and it does say, so I'm going to go over here and just look it over, make sure everything looks good on it, that I haven't linked it to the wrong thing or anything. And so that's week 4. I'm going to open checklist, open readings, and these I probably won't even open. I will open this one just for the fun of it. I can close it almost immediately. Yes. Check this one out. Oh, look at this. Chapter 5 lecture, chapter 4. So this is not right. I'm skipping open that up. Let me look in the syllabus real quick and find out about week 5. Is chapter 4. So I must have just, when I did this one, was thinking 5 when it's really week 5 must be chapter 5 and it's really chapter 4. So I'll change that. So those are the kinds of mistakes that I make. And so, you can kind of double check your links. Should pop up. Anyway, take a look at these. Hopefully they're all linked good. And then we'll go back to the checklist. 5, 4, this will be 5. Okay. So that's what you do to go all the way through. Now, once you've done that all the way through, then the very last thing you're going to do is you're going to go to not the very last. One of the last things you're going to do is go back to syllabus, and we're going to go all the way up here. And we're gonna edit the syllabus page. We only have one more thing to do on here, and that's put ratings and assignments. And we're gonna, in this case, normally this would be points and come up to 100 points, but because of the way she has this set up, we're not doing that. So we're gonna put in here, it's going to be chapter outlines. Number of assignments is 14, and it's 15%. Then module, what do we call them? Did we call them module assignments? I'm going to go out to assignments and open it in a new tab. I called them module assignments. I want to try to make them as close to the syllabus as possible. Oops. And how many of those are there? We're going to have to count those. So there's, don't count them self-introduction. It's just sitting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 of them. And that's not spelled right. So there's 12, and they're worth 20%. And then there's the midterm. There's one of those, and it's worth 10%. Then I'm going to add a row, click there, and then see how it lets me add a row after. Then discussion board. I'm actually not going to say that. I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say discussion. And then I'm going to paste in actual, like, this is so unusual because we do have discussions in the modules assignment, and it's 1 and it's worth 10% of the course. I'm going to add another row after. Then there's quizzes. Remember, there were a variety of points. They didn't add up to 15 points. So, I mean, she may have me change that, but, and how many quizzes were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 quizzes. And that is worth 15%. And then one more thing, that is one more row, and that is the cumulative paper. And one of those, and that is worth 30%. Okay, so I'm going to expand this out just a little bit so that it so that those fit in there a little better. And I'll pull this back. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Now, the very last thing I'm going to do after I've QC'd everything I can QC and I've updated the assignments and grading, the grading and evaluation section, the next thing, oh, the last thing you want to do is kind of look at this and just make sure. So our week 1, we had an introduction quiz. Week 2 was the outline and the quiz, and 3. You just want to make sure that there's no real irregularities, you know, like you don't see something that's really meant to be up here, down here. So it's kind of easy. You can kind of follow this chapter 6 outline. Then here's a couple of assignments in this that are due this week, and then 7 outline, and then 8 outline, and 9 outline, and 10 outline. You can kind of see that things are something's wrong here. This is not, the date on this is not right. It's from, one of these belong in a different module. Like the due date needs to show up in a different module. So the due date's wrong here. So we'll have to go back and look at chapter week 11 and 12. and 13. See, no assignments are here. No due dates are showing up here, and there are a bunch in here. So there's something wrong with my due dates. This is a great way to kind of tell. This is the last week, and then the midterm doesn't have a due date on it, and the syllabus doesn't. So the midterm goes where? Oh, and I don't even think it showed up. So this is doing the syllabus page, kind of look at things. So I have no idea where this midterm goes. Oh, there it is, week 12. Oh, and which would be week 11, be week 11. So the midterm goes into week 11. Okay. And then there's something wrong with these dates. So we're going to go back to the module and just look at the modules again. The due dates that go where. Okay. Because I think they're in the right modules. They just have the wrong dates on them. And here it comes back. Okay, so this seems right. Chapter 9 outline, 13, 13, 13. This seems fine. Midterm needs a due date. It's in week 11, but it needs a March 20th due date. $59, done, save. Okay, so we fixed that one, but there was some other problems with due dates in the modules. So we'll look at those again. Somewhere in week 11, 12, and 11, chapter outline, assignment. Ah, here's the problem. So the due date for these should not be the 27th. They should be April 3rd. And that's, so assignment being prepared and assignment United Nations trained need to be moved to April 3rd. And that's why you look at that syllabus page. It picks up things that are not quite right. So I'm going to go over here. Being prepared. These two need to be changed to the next week. This one. And this one. That's what we QC, because we know what we mean to do, and then it's what we really do. Okay, so now let's go back and just double check everything back in the modules again. These should all be April 13th, except for this one, which is April 17th. Then this one's April 10th, and that's the 17th. And then the outline discussion board and cumulative paper. Now when we go back to syllabus, it should make sense. So always check the syllabus as well, because that's when it kind of groups things together. And when you see that there's small groups and giant groups, that means you didn't change a due date when you duplicated an assignment or something. So for March 27th, this looks good. There were 3 in this week. There were 2 in this week. And April 10th only had an outline, I believe. And then the discussion board, they outlined the paper. And then the syllabus quiz is going to hang out here till they either delete it or add it somewhere. And we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that with the instructor. So now that you've kind of QC'd the whole course and we've kind of walked through everything, and you will miss things for sure. I'm going to go back out and set up the checklist on the home page. So that's the final thing I do. Oops. I'm going to delete this. And this is pretty easy, but it's tricky. So I'm going to go down to modules, and I'm going to click on week 1 and hit enter. Week 2, enter. Week 3, enter, and so on. So I won't repeat myself. What are you good for? Okay, now that I've got all of the modules in there, it's going to seem bizarre. I'm going to go in and unlink all of them because I don't want to link to the modules page module. I want to link to the checklist. So I just do all of that so I can get the titles. Oh, so I can get the titles right. I did not get it unlinked. I saved it before I did that. I'm going to unlink that. Now I'm going to go through, and actually I'm going to go like this so I can get this. I want to get this close at hand. So I'm going to go to pages and I'm going to link the week 1 checklist to this module name. And I'm going to do that all the way through. And sometimes you accidentally check on the readings and materials, but try to, you should probably, when you're all done, just go through and run your mouse over each link to make sure you linked it properly. So now I'm linking out to the checklist. And then I don't link out the spring break because there's nothing going on there, and I want to kind of draw attention to the fact that it is spring break and that will not, there's no class. Okay, so the other thing I do is I kind of like these bolded, so I go ahead and select all of them and bold them, and I save. Then the last thing I'm going to do, and this I don't always do this, but I am going to go look in the course to see if there's some sort of announcement, I mean, some sort of welcome I can put into the top here. Welcome, blah, blah, blah. This is an asynchronous course that and will not meet on campus. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy this. We're going to copy this. And because this is a master course, we're going to get rid of anything that necessarily says this is a certain semester of a certain year. So we're going to pop this in, paste, welcome to this, and get rid of that. And then we're going to leave weekly modules will be on Canvas by noon each Monday, and I do the following Thursday. Oh, no, failure to, okay. We're just gonna delete all of this because that's not really true. And we're gonna delete that. So that kind of take one last look at it and save. So once this is done, all of this is done and we're ready to release it to the instructor, we're going to go to the migration course. type in migration. And we're going to go to modules. So this says ready to migrate. I'm going to change this status to ready for faculty review, and the date, which is 11/5. Okay, so there you go. This is ready for faculty review. And oh, the last thing is you'll let me know so that I can enroll the teacher in there. The teacher is Janine Borland, so I'm going to go to I'm going to go out and find her information so I can enroll her. Click on people, VOR. There she is, and this is how this is her SIS ID. Now I'm going to do that. You don't have to do that, but back in the course, I'm going to go to people. I'm going to remove myself from the course, and I'm going to add the instructor by her SIS ID as a teacher. That way, this course will now pop up on her dashboard as one of her courses, and I'm actually going to accept it for her so it does pop up. It'll pop up as a message on her. So if this is me being her, she sees, goes to her dashboard, there's a message up at the top that says you need to accept this invitation. There it is. They don't always see that. So I'm going to accept it. So now it becomes, it shows up on her dashboard as, where is it? Where is it? There it is. I need to publish it. She can't. Okay, I published. Oh yeah, I published it. Okay, so there's her. When she comes in, she'll see that it's ready for review. Okay, that's it. That's how you do a migration. That's video 10, and so you can use all of these as kind of a way to, you know, obviously you don't want to watch them all over and over and over, but if you forget a step or whatever, you can use the videos to kind of remind you of what you need to do at the next step. And that's that. So I'm going to get the stop share. I'm going to stop recording, and good luck.